My name is Zarine Kharazian, and I'm associate editor at the DFR Lab. On May 5th of last year, we witnessed one of the defining viral disinformation events of 2020. Plandemic, a nearly half-hour-long video containing multiple falsehoods and unfounded allegations about the nature of the coronavirus and the US government handling of the pandemic, appeared online. I call it an event because it was truly an event, a slickly produced, self-styled documentary announced ahead of time and accompanied by a promotional campaign to prop up its star, an ex-research scientist who had long been active in anti-vaccine circles. At the time, she was also promoting a new book. The video was notable for its sheen and the promotional campaign behind it, but also the scale of its spread. Within hours, Plandemic racked up millions of views across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, and spread to countless other platforms. The producers of the video anticipated major platforms' removals of it, and in anticipation, encouraged viewers to see it on as many platforms as possible. In this talk, I wanted to walk you through some of the things our researchers noted while mapping the spread of the video across platforms in the days and weeks after its premiere. Since Plandemic, a lot has changed. Major platforms have gotten more willing to enact both hard and soft interventions against harmful misinformation about COVID-19 and elections integrity, as well as deplatformed some of the key influencers involved in the spread of both. Moreover, harmful conspiracy theories and misinformation no longer have a reliable megaphone in the office of the President of the United States. But while Plandemic feels like it happened eons ago, in many ways, the trajectory it followed remains a familiar one. An incident of harmful misinformation emerges online, encouraged by both an organic audience and coordinated influencers, spreads across many platforms, not just Twitter or Facebook, and interacts sometimes in unexpected, but in hindsight, predictable ways with attempts to moderate it. On both Twitter and Facebook, the DFR Lab tracked the spread of the video. This slide provides a snapshot of a sample of the Twitter activity surrounding the hashtag Plandemic, one of the main vectors of its early spread on Twitter. We see the role here of several prominent QAnon influencers, many of which have since been suspended in Twitter's QAnon crackdown. The role of QAnon in promoting Plandemic wasn't by any means surprising, but at the time, we were witnessing the convergence of disparate conspiracy communities on the topic of COVID-19 misinformation. It has been reported since how the pandemic has helped mainstream and grow QAnon's base. The spread of Plandemic was one of the most visible examples of that convergence and mainstreaming in 2020. On Facebook, we saw a similar convergence: QAnon, Reopen, chemtrails, and anti-vaccine groups on the topic of the video and its underlying conspiratorial claims, which resonated across these communities. Using the CoreNet R package developed by researchers at the University of Urbino in Italy, we mapped the groups in which users were engaging in rapid link sharing behavior of the video. That is, sharing set of links to copies of Plandemic hosted on various sites to public Facebook groups within an unusually short period of time from one another. CoreNet defines what constitutes a rapid link share algorithmically relative to the rest of the data set. And in this case, it identified an interval of 14 seconds. But these groups hosted this rapid link sharing behavior does not mean that the posting of the video was coordinated by regular users or that it was steered by inauthentic accounts. But it does suggest that these may have been the primary groups that helped sustain the video spread, at least on Facebook. A closer look at the groups shows that actually many of them were quite highly active, even hyperactive, posting several thousand new posts a day, many of them containing misinformation. A few hours into Plandemic spread, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube started removing copies of the video, as well as downranking it. But doing so did little to contain the damage. Millions had already seen it and shared it. As I mentioned briefly earlier, from the beginning, the producers of Plandemic had framed any anticipated moderation on the part of social media platforms as censorship and encouraged videos to download the video ahead of time and upload it to alternative platforms. One copy of the video hosted on an alt-tech video sharing platform reached 1 million views within days, and there were hundreds of copies across dozens of similar sites. Even weeks after Plandemic had appeared in the US and the news cycle about it had come and went, we continued to see the video appear in other languages, translated and at times overdubbed by local conspiracy theorists. Content moderation for non-English copies of the video appeared noticeably more lax than it was in English at the time. Like Twitter, Facebook has cracked down fairly hard on QAnon-related content since. The majority of the groups identified in this analysis have been removed from the platform, a reflection of how much the landscape has changed. But rather than disappearing completely, many of them have migrated to Telegram and various alt-tech platforms that position themselves as these censorship-free bastions of the internet because they offer little to no moderation of harmful content. About 6 weeks after all of this, a sequel to Plandemic debuted, peddling many of the same debunked claims and conspiracies as its predecessor. Despite also being accompanied by a promotion campaign, Plandemic 2 was a flop. In part, maybe this was because sequels are rarely quite as good as the original. The live stream was also plagued by rather anticlimactic technical difficulties. But fact checkers also knew what to expect this time, armed with pre-bunks of Plandemic's most harmful claims and tropes. Platforms, in turn, limited the ability of the producers to promote the live stream via social media ahead of the premiere. All in all, those of us interested in building resistance to strategic misinformation can take away 3 things from looking back over a year later on Plandemic. The first is the importance of timing in launching interventions in response to viral misinformation. The second is the utility of a proactive versus reactive approach to combating misinformation and misinformation-infused digital marketing campaigns. And the third, and perhaps most important, is that there are limits to focusing on moderating a specific piece of harmful content while ignoring the underlying infrastructure and the entrenched communities across platforms that sustain its spread. These lessons will be critical to keep in mind as we prepare for future mega viral disinformation events, whose trajectories may differ from Plandemic in important ways, but that may also recycle some of its tropes and tactics. I would like to now pass it to Renee DiResta, who will moderate a panel on what comes after an infodemic.